Amin El Hassan, you were at the game last night. And because we're in another group chat with you, we know exactly what that room smells like right now. So thank you for the update.
Unnecessary.
One thing that was not was game one. Game one was awesome. And I was cherry picking my favorite stat. There were a lot of stats, but having 17 more turnovers and 16 fewer shots, yes, they out-rebounded them. That could answer them. But that is probably a huge indicator that we got a real good series on our hands, and Indiana can actually win this thing. I mean, you need no more proof than them taking game one. Your game one thoughts, Amin El Hassan?
You know, we've seen so many of these massive comebacks in these playoffs, whether it was the Pacers against the Knicks against the Celtics, the Pacers against the Bucks, the Nuggets against the Thunder. We've seen a lot of these, and they all seem to follow pretty much the same formula, which is the team that was up has a massive collapse, missing all their shots and taking too many threes and not making them and turning it over. And the team that comes back hits a flurry of threes. Someone goes on fire like Aaron Nesmith against the Knicks. That didn't happen last night. It was a weird kind of chip away. The Pacers were far from perfect down the stretch. The Thunder were far from collapsing down the stretch, and yet it was a little bit of they scored two, these guys scored three, these guys scored two, these guys scored three, these guys got an offensive rebound here, these guys got an N one here, and next thing you know, Haliburton has the ball with a chance to win the game, and we're all looking at like the arena didn't realize it. Like all those other games that I mentioned, think about it. Everyone in the crowd is gasping and groaning like, oh no, what's happening? The Thunder crowd never saw it coming, dude, because it just felt like, nah, they got this. Oh, look, a review, out of bounds of Siakam. Game over. And literally Haliburton hits that shot, and everyone's like, holy crap. Are the Pacers going to win this game? And so it was just a remarkable, it's one of, like, I've never seen so many NBA media and NBA league office personnel legitimately giddy after an NBA Finals game, because it was the type of game that makes you happy. If you love basketball, if you don't care which one of these teams win, that game made you happy. I was in such a good mood yesterday after that game.
And because it makes it feel like we're going to get a series now, right? Because everyone was feeling like this could be a short series. So it just is like, okay, this is going to be good now.
No, for sure. I mean, there was a fear. Obviously, the Thunder opened one of the biggest favorites in the last 25 years or whatever. There was a fear that, oh my God, it's not that it's two small markets. The fear was that Oklahoma City is going to annihilate these guys, and everyone's going to be like, what a boring finals that was. So this thing kind of tilts everything on its head. And then, of course, the other part of it is the Pacers mounting this incredible comeback. Haliburton played pretty poorly most of the night, but he hits that shot and gets to do the press. Well, that's the funny thing. Cason Wallace is on him on that last possession, and who still played great defensively. But Haliburton hits that shot, gets to put on the sunglasses and put his shoes, who had just come out, the new signature shoes, on the table at the press conference. And we all remarked, no one's ever going to remember he had a bad game. All they'll remember is this moment, and kudos to him for understanding. Mike, I know you're a big wrestling guy. He knows how to play that heel role perfectly.
I mean, you mentioned Cason Wallace. He got the start over Isaiah Hartenstein in the beginning of the game. Their first kind of starting lineup change that they've done in these playoffs. They've been so good with the two big lineup. Why do you think that they went to the one big, and then really they kind of played small ball for a lot of the game? You saw Chet go 2 for 9. You saw him play 20 some odd minutes. You had Hartenstein play sparingly at 17 minutes. They got out rebounded by 17. It's not like Miles Turner is this great defensive rebounding force. What was the issue with their bigs and with their rotation?
Well, I think, Mark Dagnall responded to that, and he said, first of all, we've played a lot of different starting lineups during the regular season. We did that on purpose so that if we ever do it in the finals or in the playoffs, it's not like, whoa, you're getting a call tonight. So Cason Wallace had started 40 games for them this season. So they felt comfortable with that, number one. Number two, Dagnall cited the need for kind of optionality and a more perimeter-based defense through this series because of the Pacers' personnel. It's almost exactly what you're talking about, Tony. It's almost like the opposite. It's like because Miles Turner is their only like true big, and even he likes to step out, the need for size is lessened, and the need for perimeter defense and perimeter switching is increased. And then the third thing I'd say is it worked, man. The part that didn't work, which is the part you would think, which is the offense wasn't as good. They turned them over 19 times in the first half and only scored 9 points off of it. So from the Thunder standpoint, it wasn't about like, oh man, we should have gone big. I can't believe we did that. It was like, guys, we got to make shots. We're turning them over. We have to convert on the other end.
It's actually a good point because we were talking earlier about why is.
Sounds so surprised. It's Amino Hassan.
No, but it's a good point because we didn't acknowledge this. We're talking earlier about why is Oklahoma City adjusting to Indiana before the game even started. That was weird. They were up 15 with 7 minutes left in the game. Like the starting lineup change really had nothing to do with Oklahoma City not winning that game last night.
They were winning. They were busting ass.
Yeah.
And like that's like if they lost that game, it wasn't a strategic reason they lost that game.
Yeah.
It was guys didn't make shots, and the Pacers, and the whole time throughout that first half when we were like, oh my god, because that first half I've never seen. It was like, in the movies, whenever they say, oh, there's piranha in here, and they take, like, you put your hand in there, and it comes out, and it's just a bone, like, or in the cartoons, I guess, not really in the
Big
movies.
fan of that
And it's
lasers.
right, like it's just like a furry of bubbles. That's what it
Lou
was,
Dort.
man. That was all of them. Anytime like any Pacer had the ball for more than a second, it was getting deflected or tipped away. Like it was crazy. It was like you can't look around. It's like being a pickpocket in a European city. Like it's like if you're a tourist, like the moment you turn around, someone's got your wallet.
But I mean,
crap.
was that great defense or was that bad, sort of lazy offense because they were used to playing the Knicks for 6 games?
Okay, I'm all for shots at the Knicks at this point. They deserve it after that.
It's a third place finisher.
Yeah, there you go.
Be careful.
Yeah, but it was. I've never seen anything like that, and they all do it. Like we talked about this, Izzy, on Oddball. It's like they all do it. There's no guy out there. It's not like the Pacers where it's like we have a bunch of guys who do it. Haliburton really doesn't do it though. He doesn't defend like that.
Right.
But for the Thunder, it's like everybody on the court is liable to steal the ball from you, and that's kind of a real pressure-packed situation. Kudos to the Pacers for keeping their cool throughout that all, and then in the second half, doing a much better job of being cognizant of where the crowds are, where the roaming hands are, and moving the ball
Drive
quickly,
with
and
a
I think that
purpose.
really helped them.
Is Tyrese Haliburton the most clutch player in Pacers history?
In the words of Stugotz, do it again next season, right? Then that's what Reggie is. It's Reggie's like I didn't have a good.
He's 13 of
Reggie's,
15 in the final 2 minutes on go ahead or tying shots.
I get it, but Reggie Miller didn't do an postseason. He did it almost every single postseason, right? So Haliburton, this is one of the most incredible runs I've ever seen, for sure. But if you want to be the most clutch in Pacers his playoff history, you got to do it again and again and again.
But he's
like,
already
year after
tied
year.
Reggie. They showed the stat last night. We're all since '97 playoffs.
He hasn't tied him in longevity.
So let me ask you guys this: let's say Tyrese Haliburton plays 10 more years for the Pacers and never has another one.
They're
of these.
still tied.
But did they win the title this year?
Yeah.
And they don't win the title this year.
There it is.
If they
Because
do,
of course, if they win, then it's like okay, now we have to, right?
Well,
That's kind of like the unwritten rule. If you win a championship, you have to be.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen to Tyrese Haliburton if they win this championship, superstardom, appearance at SummerSlam in New York. The guy's going to be every bit the star that he seems to be leaning into. Oh, he's absolutely showing up at SummerSlam.
Amazing.
Absolutely showing up at SummerSlam. But
Win or lose.
Yeah, for sure. What do we do with Rick Carlisle? Because Rick Carlisle, I think the biggest NBA Finals you've seen in your upset in your lifetime was the Pistons over the Lakers, right? But second was probably the Mavericks over LeBron James's Heat with J.J. Barea and them boys. If Indiana wins this one, it's probably third in your lifetime, maybe, possibly. I'd like to get your perspective on that.
Toronto over Golden State was pretty big.
Warriors,
I mean, when you contextualize the injuries, but fair enough. That's certainly in the debate. We'll get a means answer on that, but Rick Carlisle would be the head coach for 2 of the greatest NBA Finals upsets of all time. Like, what do we do with that? What do we do with his legacy? And I guess we found a pretty interesting question, which is rank your biggest upsets in NBA Finals history, and where would this be placed?
I think it's more fun to rank the upsets. Like where Carlisle, oh, come on, he's great. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. We know that. We've been talking about that. Like he had some lean years, and he had to adjust and grow, right, to understand. Look, the modern game is less kind of controlling the game from the sideline and more trusting the guy has. And again, when you have Tyrese Haliburton as your point guard, that's pretty easy. It's a lot easier to do than say if your point guard was, I don't know, Tyler Hero or whatever, right? But the biggest upsets, it's crazy. Pistons over Lakers, because that Lakers team was such a machine. It's up there. I think this would be bigger than Heat versus Mavs. And the reason why I say that is the Heat didn't have a convincing regular season, right? That was the first year of the Big Three. And it never kind of really looked. At the end, they started getting a little momentum, but it wasn't the daunting machine, right? The Lakers that year started like 15-1 or something.
Pretty dominant. They had pretty dominant postseason. Like, they ran through the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
Sure.
but it wasn't a young, up-and-coming Dallas Mavericks team with a star who hasn't established himself yet. It was Dirk freaking Nowitzki.
And a bunch of like former stars that became role players. Really interesting roster.
But at the same time, like, which is more impressive? Beating that LeBron James, Dwayne Wade Miami Heat, or an OKC team that's literally never been here?
Impressive or shocking are two different questions. I think shocking is what we're talking about.
This OKC team has like the highest point differential in the history of the NBA, right? Like they didn't just win 68 games; they beat the out of everybody. That was the thing. I remember looking up the stat: the least amount of double-digit losses in an NBA season, and for the longest time, the Thunder were tied with like the '96 Bulls. It's not just that they win games; they beat your ass. It's not just that they don't lose. It's not just that they don't lose often. It's when they lose, it's like, okay, like that was. You barely beat us.
I mean, I think they said on the
they're excellent.
I think they said on the radio broadcast last night when the Thunder went up by 10 in the second quarter, and they said it's the 62nd game this year that the Thunder have a double-digit lead. It's like, what?
I mean, what do you think about the 2016 Cavs against the 73-9?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the biggest one. I'm sorry.
Especially given your takes on the matter entering that one.
That's dude. Like the Warriors team is still that 2016 season is still the best basketball I've ever seen front to back of an NBA season of any team ever, and that includes like the '96 Bulls. That includes the '86 Celtics. I know a lot
prime
of old
LeBron.
people.
It feels ridiculous to say that's one of the biggest upsets of all time when they have prime LeBron.
They should not have won that series.
No, I know that.
They should not have won that series. They should not have even had a molecule of oxygen in their lungs.
But don't we contextualize that series as well based on what happened with Draymond Green?
Sure, but it's still like Draymond sat out Game 5. He still played Game 6 and 7. That's the point. Like look, trust me, I've done the whole like look. Bogut got hurt. Steph was compromised from the injury earlier. That like Harrison Barnes couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Like I've done all that. And Kevin Love had to have one of the greatest defensive stances of his entire career happen in the most clutch moment. Steve Kerr had to play the only 3 guys on his whole rotation who are negative plus minus all in the fourth quarter, right? There's a lot of things that led up to them losing that series. That's kind of how upsets work. It's not, hey, we played perfect and they still beat our ass, right? Like it's like this chain reaction, like how the Death Star blew up. It's like there's something that happened, and then next year we go, this unstoppable force fell. So yeah, I would say Warriors losing to the Cavs is 1. 2 would be Lakers losing to the Pistons, and this would be 3 for me.
Well, the series prices don't agree with you. Golden State was minus 200 as a series favorite in 2016 before the NBA Finals. I know, like, you were all about Golden State. And that feels ridiculous in retrospect, but that's not that big of a line.
That's all LeBron.
What was this one?
Yeah, this was 2016.
No, what was this line?
It's like 700.
Yeah.
Wow.
Massive. Would this would be a bigger upset than, I think you just gave us the answer, than Toronto. I think Toronto, that Toronto championship, everyone's going to say the injuries and all that. It kind of felt like that Golden State team with Kevin Durant was at the end of its run. I like them even if Golden State stayed healthy. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Again, I think the injuries certainly color how that thing went. But you're right, Mike. Durant gets hurt. But like Klay's healthy, the momentum is still in Toronto's favor, even though the Warriors had done very well without Durant in those playoffs. He got hurt in the second round, I want to say. They blitzed the Rockets. They sweep the Blazers in the conference finals. And then they get to the finals, and it was first 2 games kind of here and there, and then like the Durant injury happens and it starts to fall away. I think Kawhi Leonard obviously changes that math. Like we had such immense respect for him as a champion, and then Nick Nurse had kind of solidified himself as one of the great coaches in the league. I don't. Yeah, I guess it's an upset, but it didn't feel as shocking as some of the other ones that we're talking about.
I mean, how are we supposed to think of Chet Holmgren? I'm still trying to figure out what to think of him. I don't think he should be wearing the same clothes as SGA in that commercial because he's just kind of a role player most of the time.
Yeah, I thought J-Dub played well last night. I mean, obviously he didn't shoot it great, but he played all right last night. Chet's the one that's like, that can't happen. You have to win your matchup. And that's not a slight on Miles Turner, who absolutely won the matchup, had big plays, big blocks, big shots. That bank shot on the side that was crazy.
Did he call that? You were there.
No, he definitely didn't call it. And by the way, we didn't know because we're sitting
so high
behind.
Up.
No, it's not even that. It's because we're sitting behind the basket that he was shooting at. And obviously they don't play replays for the opposing team. So he makes that shot. I'm like, did he bank that? Did he bank? And no one around me knew. And so I had to like wait. And then I asked like people on Twitter or whatever, or on Threads. And because the delay, I'm like, I forgot to check the answer. So I didn't find out until doing the post game with Juju and Trista. Trista was like, and that crazy bank shot. I was like, oh, so it was a bank shot.
I mean, I saw where you were sitting based on your video. You were in like the auxiliary seats, and you said they're behind the basket. Like, is that insulting? Should you have been placed in better seats? You know what I mean?
So the NBA Finals, 90% of the media is going to be upstairs, right? The people who are downstairs are like, either I'm covering this team, right?
Or George Sedano.
Sedano had good ones.
He was right
courtside.
there.
Guys, Sedano's doing courtside reporting for ESPN Radio. He's not just hanging out like me or any number of the other media. Like he's actually he's going in asking questions.
But most of the game he's just hanging out in his seat though.
Sure, but it's like the same thing that Lisa Salters is doing. It would be like, why is Lisa Salters down there? Like, yeah, that's kind of the job, is to be a courtside reporter, not an upstairs reporter. Wait, it's like, let me get an elevator, go downstairs to ask this question, and then come back upstairs.
That's what you have to do.
All right. I think you should have been closer. That's all I'm saying.
We're here with upstairs reporter Amino Hassan.
You know, it's funny because people always say, "Oh man, great seats." Like I didn't look, dude. Like I'm not buying these seats, right? This is where they place us. And
you're in the barn.
Again, everybody's upstairs. Everybody, unless you're covering the team.
Who else? Give us a big name that was sitting by you. Who else?
I like that question.
Who was upstairs? Actually my seats were pretty good upstairs. There's levels to upstairs, so
Vesey?
My seats.
Who was behind you? Let's hear that. Who was behind you?
Behind me was NBA league staff. The whole row was just all league office people.
A lot of smiles.
I saw that the Pacers sent a ton of their crew there. Like there was the upper deck was filled with Pacers staff.
Yes, sir.
It was one section and it was to the left of us. And so the video I posted on Instagram is of that last play by Haliburton, and then I literally turn and I look up there, and they're going crazy. At one point, by the way, when it started to sink in, like, oh, they might actually do this, it was during the timeout, and then they just started chanting, "Let's go Pacers," and it was loud, and then the arena went crazy. Oklahoma City, by the way, we can say this right now, it's a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. Dude, first of all, they don't have a single chant that they post on that board. Them people just do it. They just know. This is when we're all going to say, they all have these clapper things. And KC. Then the other thing is, I don't know how many of you guys know this. Apparently, every game they sing Sia Titanium.
Wow.
Like in a timeout, they'll sing
the World Championship of darts.
That's kind of fire, actually.
That's their Sweet Caroline?
Everybody in the arena, old ladies, babies.
That's
they
an upset.
all
How
know
long have they
every
been doing
word.
this?
This year, I don't know if they've
so
been
they got
doing
it from
longer
the
than
darts. There's a guy that comes out to that, and
That crowd knowing Titanium's an upset.
Oh,
wow.
That's
perfect.
That's a top 40 crowd right there.
That's pitch perfect.
If
like
there's
a lot of
town
old-
that listens to top 40, it's OKC.
Looks like a lot of old white people there.
The
Bingo.
way that it is, it's a lot
40.
of white people. Chris, it's a lot of white people there. Let me tell you something.
How shook was that crowd?
I do like the Super Mario Brothers defense thing that they got going on there. But yeah.
Was they do that? Yeah.
What were the buttholes like over there? Tight?
Yeah. It's crazy again. No, because they didn't realize what was happening.
Yeah, it was
such a. We were literally like, none of us. We were like, okay, the Pacers still hanging around. Okay, all right, okay. Well, because the other thing is, because it wasn't a collapse. Shea was getting to the free throw line. Shea was making shots. So dude, literally with 3 minutes to go, whatever. When he makes that tough layup that we thought would have been an and one, but they didn't call a foul. The guy next to me looks at me and says, "That's some MVP right there." And I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah."
Like it was. He had 38. He had the third highest debut of an NBA Finals in NBA history. Like,
30
there was
shots,
no
though.
part of this that felt like oh, they're blowing this. Oh my God. And so when it happened, like when Haliburton hit the shot, you know how I said the best sound in the world is Madison Square Garden when that kind of happens? It didn't sound like that, but it was getting there. It was like, oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Are we down? It just hit them in that moment.
There was a pretty big moment in that game that we haven't talked about at all, and it ended up being the difference. I know Haliburton makes a shot, but they don't go ahead. We're not for the lane violation.
Huge.
And, dude, I don't understand this rule. I don't, because that didn't look any different. I feel like there's a lane violation.
Every second free throw?
Every second free throw. It's a wild spot to call that. It didn't look particularly egregious. And I know Haliburton hits a shot and he has the moment, and the comeback is such that people aren't going to identify that as a controversial point, nor should they. But let's revisit that a little bit, because that did not look super legit.
We never saw a replay. They just called it.
I saw it on the TV broadcast. There was
everybody was over the line on the replay. I was trying to figure out who it
Pacers
was,
too.
and everybody was over the line.
It was mostly Pacers were in lockstep with OKC players, expecting, because Siakam has struggled from the stripe this season, this postseason. Everybody was anticipating the miss. How does it get blamed on OKC? What'd you think of that call in that spot? I know you haven't seen a replay, so
right.
I mean, if they called it clearly on the replay, you see people crossing the. There's a lane violation, yes, but it's one of those things. Honor amongst thieves. We don't call this.
So first of all, the thing I was thinking about at the time was, Siakam just missed 2 in a row in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game. Is this going to be his Nick Anderson moment, like where
And he's just a terrible free throw shooter the rest of his career.
He's flirting with that.
Dude,
So flat.
It was so he looked.
He takes
so
his
tight.
hand off the ball on the release.
He looked so tight, and I think the important thing to point out is if it were Benedict Mathurin, we'd be like, oh, okay. But it's like, you're the guy who's been here.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be. I'm the sage adult who's the guys. I will show you the way. He looked so tight, right? So he misses that second one. We get a lane violation. We didn't. I'm like, what happened? It's like, lane violation, really? Okay. And then he just gets back there and he makes that one. That was huge, but I'm gonna tell you the biggest GTFO moment. It was a Nembhard 3.
Yes, dude.
He dribbled, and I
balls on
was
this
like,
guy.
"What are you doing?"
On
Like
the
I literally said out
MVP.
loud, "What are you doing? What are you doing, kid? This is the NBA Finals. This ain't your game." And then he steps back and he launches that, and it drops, and I was like, I literally just said, oh my God. And then, the funny thing is he tried doing it like a couple possessions later and he got an air ball, but Siakam grabs the offensive rebound on that one. So there's a lot of these little moments. Again, it's crazy that Haliburton gets to be the hero when it was like all these other guys. It was Siakam, it was Nembhard, it was Toppin, Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin kept them in this game.
And he looked terrible.
It was so bad early.
He was wide open on that Haliburton shot. Wide open. Give it to Obi.
I mean, was there any moments in the game before the Haliburton make that you said the Pacers are going to win this game?
I said they're hanging around. I just kept saying they're hanging around.
No, you said, wow, Pacers are going to win.
0.3 of a second.
When Haliburton grabbed the rebound, or whoever grabbed the rebound off the Shea miss, and they were dribbling up court, and when I pulled out my phone and said, let me start recording this.
Wow.
That's when I was like, I think they're actually going to win this game.
Amazing.
That's crazy. Karl Anthony Towns gets a lot of crap for changing his voice in certain interviews. There's something that happened with Tyrese Haliburton. I'll get your opinion on. Let's fire up that video here from the post game.
Here's the thing: is like we've had to win in so many different ways all year. We've had so many weird wins during the regular season, during the playoffs. So why would that change? Because we're here in the finals. It's not changing. So we just keep staying at it and just keep believing, and that's the result we get.
He turns into Patrick Mahomes there. The first 10 seconds, he sounds like Haliburton. Turns into Patrick Mahomes, and then for the last 5 seconds, I want to play this again. The last 5 seconds goes back to being Haliburton.
Here's the thing: is like we've had to win in so many different ways all year. We've had so many weird wins during the regular season, during the playoffs. So why would that change? Because we're here in the finals. It's not changing. So we just keep staying at it and just keep believing, and that's the result we get.
Is it a phlegm situation?
Here's the thing, though.
Yes.
He changes his voice literally when he says the word change.
Yeah. It's
that's
wild.
got to be on purpose.
I was thinking Flem because this happens to Dan all the time in this scene, and we're always like, clear your throat.
Maybe
but,
he just ate.
But play it one more time. If it's a Flem situation, you'd hear him clear it. He keeps talking, and then the voice normalizes on its own. Equalizes. That's a brand new word that was recently invented. Can we hear that one more time?
Hit it again.
Here's the thing: is like we've had to win in so many different ways all year. We've had so many weird wins during the regular season, during the playoffs. So why would that change? Because we're here in the finals. It's not changing. So we just keep staying at it and just keep believing, and that's the result we get.
So Karl Anthony Towns, this is where I give credit to Haliburton. He has said, I know this happens. I don't know why. I don't realize when it's happening. But I have been told throughout my life that this happens. So Tyrese Haliburton, I give him credit for like at least owning up to it. Whereas I don't think I've ever heard Towns address why sometimes he's shouting out the guys at Rucker, yo, this is for all the people at Rucker.
Did you see the photos of him in the club after they got eliminated? I was rolling. He was doing all like that.
So was he.
Hey.
Let them boys live, man. Like, what are they going to do? Be sad? Like,
Yeah.
it's all right, man.
Hey, you're
For-
a millionaire.
for a
Go
day.
have fun.
No. I had no issue with it. I only took issue with Cat's poses in the club. Like he's walking in slow motion.
Mike, what would you want
No.
Cat to actually be cool? Like,
No,
you,
he delivers
to me,
on expectations every time, Cat.
Yeah, like I'm like, yo, man, I'm all for just play into whatever character we've created for you. And then I was like, all right, now it's easy for us to kind of build like a narrative and kind of a thing about you, man. The same way like Haliburton, man, like, yeah, he's his father's son for sure. Let's just put it that way.
What's your prediction for the
Should've
rest of this
anticipated that
series?
one.
I'm gonna pin you down.
Yeah, I had Thunder in 5 before, and I also said if the Pacers are going to win one, game 1 is their best shot.
Man, do you think that's what Thunder in 5 looks like?
I don't think so.
I mean,
You reserve
I
the
think
right to pivot.
So this is what a lot of people. It's funny. There are a lot of people last night who were like, "Oh, I don't know. Now maybe the Pacers can win this thing." And my thing is, game 1 always favors the underdog in the sense that the underdog has all this time to lead up to find like a gimmick or something that's going to be different, that's going to change how the favorite is approached. Once game 1 is in the books, now we know, oh, that's what you guys are trying to do? Okay, we're going to go back and make our adjustments, and now the underdog has to make their adjustments to the adjustments, and the grand dance begins. But that first game is the first unknown. Like, I don't know how they're going to come out to guard us. I don't know how they're going to try to attack us. I don't know what the strategy is going to be. So before the game, I was telling people, like, if they're going to steal one, this is the one that they're going to steal. But I think Oklahoma City, as they've shown time and time again in these playoffs, they're going to learn, they're going to adjust, and they're going to come back pretty harshly. I think we're going to get a great series regardless, whether it's 5, whether it's 6, whether the Pacers win, whether the Thunder win. I don't think it's going to be 4 blowouts and we're over, but I do think the Thunder are going to win.
So did Jonathan Zaslow. What was your prediction?
I'm the only person. I'm the only expert on ESPN.com who had Thunder in 4.
So how does that work? Are Pacers fans already blowing you up? Because I know when the Heat get doubted or
Well,
when
here's
the Panthers
how
get
it
doubted,
works.
I'm
All
like,
right, here's how it works. You got everybody on that ESPN.com. Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6. How about you grow a pair? All right. So I had Thunder in 4. That's right.
How are that pair?
Hey, the pair is fine. I don't get everything right. All right, but how about you have a little guts?
Pair's fine.
Anyone could say Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6.
Cockring?
See, now here's where Zaz is right? If the Thunder end up winning this series, no one is going to go back and say, look at that doofus, he had Thunder in 4.
That's right.
They really wanted in 5 or 6.
That's right.
But if the Thunder had swept,
Then I'm a legend.
guess who gets carried on the show? Exactly.
I know how the game's
He's a
played.
legend.
When did they start asking the radio personalities for their predictions?
I don't know, man, but I was happy to be a part of it. Come on.
I think they're running out of other staff. No offense.
Oh, man.
well, you got to take a selfie from the ring today. I mean, it's OKC.
Please.
What else is there to do? You
Please.
got to. I'm giving you an idea of something to
Just
do
to
over
prove
there.
it's real. Not that one.
Not the one
that
that-
one,
Oh.
please.
Yeah.
But that's the one. That's the one. See, because my hog is so massive.
That's what
this
they're-
big-
yeah.
Oh,
that's
gosh.
it, yeah.
You
Nice,
got the hammer,
man.
You got to use it.
Hog talk.
I did actually have a question if we're going to hog talk.
Oh.
Chris, do thick wrists imply you have a beer can?
I've always, I'm just doing my own math over here.
Always.
Real quick,
I've always thought
Real
bone
quick-
structure, like if you got like really thick legs,
My wrists
it'd
are
be
dainty.
it'd be weird if it's really thin, right? I mean, there's got to be some correlation.
Like a pencil. Go ahead, Amin.
guys, before we get out of here, we have to do this. Where's Dan Le Batard? We need his tears. He said the Thunder were unstoppable.
He's a Pacers fan, I mean.
It's convenient that on the day that he was supposed to, like when the Pacers won, that he's not in here. Oh, we have to ham it up because apparently whenever you miss a show, it's because you have tears. Remember that.